Brady with the Raiders now, so
Yeah,
at
Brady's
least
they're all in on Mendoza. I get it. I get it. I get it.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
Disney story. I get it. I get it.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He's still gonna have to play though. I
Yeah.
mean,
That's what.
it's perfect. It's perfect with him because the Raiders got that Latino Hispanic background and
Yeah.
fans and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I get it. I get it.
it is Disney.
Yeah. It is. It is Disney.
It's Disney. So I mean, Mama's sick, and no disrespect.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I do get that, but it's like they, got up here in the chair and stuff, and I was like, oh man,
It's
this
a
is
this already made Disney movie, man.
yeah, it is because it's like dad won't stand up because he wants to sit close to the mother, and so and I'm like, oh God,
I didn't
and
realize that till the championship game that she was in a wheelchair.
yeah, nobody. I mean, I don't think they really said it, and then we were just, But one thing I thought was kind of hilarious is when he goes. I couldn't even get a tryout or a walk on. They didn't even want to. I couldn't get an invite. You could tell the 8-year-old came out of him after he won. I live 5 minutes away, and I'm just every day I just go past the stadium, just hoping I can just get a look or a look see.
And my thing is the American public ass is so tight that they show a random lady in the crowd. She happens to be an adult film star.
Oh,
Oh, my children were watching the game. How dare they put her on TV? Well, how would your children know who she is?
because is that the girl they
I didn't
showed?
know who she was until they started talking about it. It's a blonde
That
girl.
that's
She goes
that's
to the
what,
University of Miami.
and she's an adult porn star.
Yes, her name is Abella Danger. I
So
looked
you
her
think
up.
they knew that before?
I don't know. They knew that before.
That's a little tricky because it sounds like they did.
I don't. It doesn't matter if they showed her or not.
It
You didn't
doesn't, but
know
I'm
who
just
she
saying.
was. If they, my thing was, oh, they shouldn't show that with children. How would you? How do you? First of all, how do you know? And then how do your children know? You just told on yourself, freaks, closet freaks.
Everybody got a little freak in them. I told you.
Everybody got a little freaking. How would they? I mean, really? She just there to watch the game. Adult film stars can't go out, watch it, enjoy life, and watch the game.
I didn't know who the hell she was. I didn't know. I said, okay, well, she kind of cute. She all right.
I had my children watching the game, and you showed that. Oh, she.
Yeah,
You
she
know,
nice looking.
I had to do my research.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I ain't done no research. I just looked at her. I said, okay, and I said she good looking.
Welcome to the squad. He's Icewater. I'm Puma, and do us a favor: like, share, subscribe to our channel right here on Chocolate 108.1 WYDL. We're going to talk some NFL football. The game is about to start. You have the Los Angeles Rams at Seattle, and also you have the New England Patriots at the Denver Broncos. It's about to kick off today, and the two teams that win today go to the big dance. I'm already putting my picks in. I think the two visiting teams, the Rams and the Patriots, will be in the Super Bowl in a couple of weeks. Your thoughts on this game, man?
No, I agree with that 100%. Before I had my druthers about other stuff, druthers, should I say, about who is going to make it. But when you look at it from the standpoint, I like Seattle. I think they're strong, but I think the Rams have the experience. And when on that level, they had the experience. They've been there before, and we just need to see can Seattle step up. It might be their year to step up and prove me wrong, but I just think something about the Rams. I said that about the Rams earlier in the year. I think the Rams were their own worst enemy, and that's why they didn't win a lot more games. But they're more than capable of being in the Super Bowl, and I think they can beat Seattle, particularly when they split 1-1. The other game, Patriots and Broncos, it's almost as if the media has this crusade. They want to put the coach in the Super Bowl so bad. And it seemed to be working early on. But then from that standpoint, we ain't gonna get into what my tirade was last week. So anyway, but the point of it is with the karma coming back on them and then losing the quarterback, and now you have a backup quarterback, I think it's gonna be very difficult for them to get over it. And I don't think people they keep talking about Peyton is a great coach and all this and that. I don't think they're giving New England enough credit for what they've done in the season. They had a starting running back that got hurt, had to go back and bring out Henderson. a lot of things they had to put together, particularly on defense, to make sure that it worked. Even with digs and whatnot, they had to put a lot, they had to scramble a lot, but they were able to persevere, and that's why they were one of the best teams. And I think that will get them over, along with the quarterback from Denver being out, will get them over and get them to the Super Bowl.
You know, after last week's game, I thought my phone was dead because nobody from Chicago was texting me and calling me after the Rams were supposed to lose in the cold. And it was really cold here, but not as cold as this weekend. But you start hearing things about the Buffalo owner with the racist comments. That's some of the stuff I start reading about how one of the coordinators was saying, hey, he was at a dinner with him and he said, hey, if the black players don't like being here, they can go back to Africa. When Josh Allen was drafted, he had to erase a lot of racist Twitter stuff. So it all kind of makes sense with Buffalo. And it's almost like when you talk about karma, here it goes with karma with the Buffalo Bills and how they can't get over the hump. And maybe there's some things that they need to do some sage around that place to get all those, that bad juju away from them. But Chicago, I was looking at that game last week and I kept looking at the play on the interception in overtime. And here's what I came up with. And, those who play football probably seen the same thing. They keep saying DJ Moore gave up on the play. But I've seen Chicago run that play over and over again. And I don't think he gave up on the play. I think he saw that the safety, if you look at their defense, the Rams knew exactly what the Bears were going to run. And the safety was right in the path of where the ball was supposed to go. And maybe DJ saw that and said, okay, Caleb must see that, and he's not throwing the ball to me. Also, there's reports that DJ Moore was hurt, and they didn't want him to talk about that during the game. And that was something that, could have played a factor into that last play. But I will give it to Chicago. They had a great season. I don't know whether or not they'll pay attention to Caleb, because Caleb, to me, is not really ready yet. And he threw 3 interceptions in that game. And I think people get caught up with the miracle passes that he throws. He did that at USC. I'm not surprised at that, throwing the ball up in the air, running back, and 30 yards to throw the heave ho. But my thing is that you got to get a better team out there if you want to go farther in this, and you can't rely on those miracle plays because they're not going to keep happening. If you're going to rely on those miracle plays, stop calling them the Iceman and call them Lucky Charms. Your thoughts, man?
No, I mean, I can see that from the standpoint of Chicago. I think they had a hell of a year. Like I said, I called them as a playoff team after they beat the lovely Cowboys earlier in the year. But I think there's work still to be done. I think the one saving grace for Chicago right now is the fact that you have a coach that's capable of helping you continue to advance, right? So what you
You
do
need to
now
stop
is,
going for it on 4th down and take the points, man, in the
I
playoffs.
mean, I get that, but that's probably when it goes back to when he was in Detroit, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's something you can tweak, right? But I think the factor that he has them thinking a certain kind of way, a certain kind of mindset, it really can help them move forward. And now you need to tweak. So now you say, okay, this wasn't working. This person was not good for us. We need to do some other things. Now you tweak because you at least created a foundation that allows them to be playoff ready and playoff bound and close. So now when you're talking to about Caleb Williams, you pull him off the side and go, hey, look, we need you to do this, we need you to do that to improve his game. Because even though the best quarterbacks, and he's still kind of young, even though he did what he did at USC, still kind of young, he still can improve. So he might work on some mechanics or certain things that he does better now. Because as you grow, if you're young in the NFL, you're supposed to grow. That's why he needs to have whoever the hell is solid quarterback coach showing him what he needs to look for as far as the plays and also making sure he's making quality decisions throughout the rest of his career.
Olofsky made some comments about CJ Stroud on ESPN that I thought were outrageous because a thing that's happening that people are picking up, the public are picking up, is that the media won't talk about white quarterbacks who bite the dust in playoffs and in their seasons, but they jump on the black quarterbacks like Lamar and CJ Stroud and those black quarterbacks who don't really make it far in the playoffs. What are your thoughts about some of the comments. He did come back and apologize, but they're so quick to jump on black quarterbacks that they will give grace to Josh Allen and Burrow and all these other quarterbacks who make some of the same mistakes or even worse, but don't get on them.
Yeah, well, I mean, some people may have preferences or whatever, and they might like a certain kind of style. Because when you mentioned two quarterbacks, CJ Stroud, you also mentioned Jackson, those are more mobile, right? Some people still are on that agenda that they don't like mobile quarterbacks, particularly African American quarterbacks. We know that goes all the way back to certain individuals, Tobin and guys like that, were with Indianapolis saying that Lamar Jackson should have been a wide receiver. So some people don't like that, and I think the problem with these African American quarterbacks, not all of them, but in these particular situations, when you throw that number of interceptions like that, right, it opens the door for a lot of things. But certain people just like what they like, and that's with the media. We need to understand that with the media, instead of making these guys as so-called these great experts, you need to really make them accountable, right? It's like when you talk about people saying they still hold the SEC football to a certain level. I mean, come on. I mean, what else you need now? But I'm just to make the point is certain people have certain things that they like about quarterbacks. And then when those certain individuals that they don't like that play a different style, when they struggle, they harp on them. They harp on them big time. And granted, is it fair because you think that they're picking on African Americans? Let's keep it 100. And I don't want to do too much of an editorial comment here, but it's been happening for the longest time. Let's go back to Marlon Briscoe. Y'all Google him, see what I'm talking about. Marlon Briscoe and so many other people that didn't get the opportunity. They had to switch over. No, but a lot of people don't know that you're gonna talk about your gentleman with the fashion fupa that Tony Dungy was a quarterback before he came in. He was a hell of a quarterback in college before he switched over to the NFL and where he played in the secondary. So I don't think it's anything new. It's just we're starting to see people coming out and showing who they really are. But we're not surprised, man. I mean, you go back, it's kind of par for the course, but I think people are getting comfortable because now it seems more acceptable.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
that's all I'm saying. I don't know.
Don't let your president get you in trouble.
Yeah, don't get too comfortable is what we need to say. Don't get too comfortable. And I don't want to say, I hate to say you're right. No, I'm just playing. But
It's okay. It's okay.
yeah, no,
I can
I'm
be
gonna
right
need therapy.
sometimes.
I'm gonna need therapy for this. But no, it just what's funny is the factor that a lot of the teams that we talked about that had openings as far as candidates are concerned for head coaches, they went the retread road, what you said before. And you said we didn't know, and I was like, well, where the new people at? I guess there aren't any, but a lot of them jumped on the retread from that standpoint. You look at it from the standpoint of we're gonna start right now. I gotta go straight to the heart. We talked about it before about the Giants. Harbaugh leaves or gets dismissed or whatever from Baltimore, and he runs to the Giants. That situation there was crazy, but that's where he is. Lovely Pittsburgh, Mike McCarthy. Wow. Out of all the people in the world, you brought in
From
McCarthy.
bad to worse. From bad
Atlanta,
to worse. Atlanta, from
Atlanta.
bad to worse.
Stefanski leaves Cleveland and brings his offensive coordinator with him. Like the four quarterbacks that you had in Cleveland and all that madness was going on over there, you had nothing to do with it because you were a two-time coach of the year. Why don't you use some of that in Cleveland if you're so great? I don't know. You go on and on. Titans, Robert Saleh doing that.
I don't think
Uh,
that's a good move for him, but we'll see. We'll see.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, those are the ones there, but we still got the openings in Arizona, Buffalo, Cleveland, and the Raiders. So it's gonna be interesting to see there. I don't know. We had talked before about. I know you wanted to chop it a little bit, talk about that Pittsburgh move. So I'm gonna leave that to you right now.
Here's my thing, man. If Pittsburgh did this to keep Aaron Rodgers there another year, I feel bad for. I said at the beginning of the year, go check the tape. I said I'm not rooting for any team. The Giants and the Steelers were my teams, and I said no, I can't root for any team in the NFL. I'm going to be objective. I'm just going to let things kind of ride because you see NFL teams making these moves, and you know that they're really not trying to win. They're really not trying to win. It's like a big pot, and everybody has their share of the pot, and they don't care whether or not they get to the Super Bowl or not. But if Pittsburgh does this, because you always said this, and I always thought this, Pittsburgh had three coaches in their lifetime, and they were always careful about who they picked and who they select to carry on that. And Pittsburgh was one of those teams that if nobody else was doing it right, Pittsburgh was doing it right. They were doing it the way that made them successful. And all of a sudden now they're looking like the regular NFL teams. They're really looking like the regular NFL teams where they don't really care how they're kind of doing this. They're just going out there and doing what every other team is doing. And I wouldn't be surprised next year if the Pittsburgh Steelers did not make the playoffs. Didn't you see what McCarthy did in Green Bay in his last few years and with the Dallas Cowboys? I mean, did we not see it? It's almost like they're picking these coaches and acting like, oh, I've never seen this coach before. Or I don't know this coach's track record. Or I don't know whether this coach can handle a big time team. And so you see this and you go, I don't know. I can't call it. So you see the Giants do it. You see the Steelers do it. You see the Atlanta Falcons do it. Why would you go get this coach when you know, you know, you need a really great coach to coach that team? But I can't get excited about it. If y'all don't care, NFL, I don't care. Now, the fans, here's what I'm saying. I said it last week. I'm going to repeat again this week. If you don't stop spending money, stop going to the games, stop buying the products that they're advertising during these games to say, listen, I'm not going to take this anymore. If you guys don't want to win and you don't care, we don't care. When will you sacrifice and say, you know what, we're not coming to the games. We're not going to buy the tickets. We're not going to buy the merchandise until you give us a product that's worthy to go to the Super Bowl and go to the playoffs. It's simple as that. But they know that they got a drug that you can't kick. So they're going to keep giving it to you. You're going to argue about it for a couple of weeks. The Buffalo fans are arguing about the call, all these videos about the call last week. They're moving on. They're not talking, the NFL is not talking about that. It's the NFC and AFC championship, and then it's going to be Bad Bunny in the Super Bowl, and they're going to keep rolling on, and then y'all going to keep talking about it until next year. So until you kick the habit, here's what you're going to get.
I still think, from the standpoint of, when I look at Baltimore, you can hire who the heck you want to, but when you don't go and look towards improving your weaknesses, right? I think you still have the same thing. And I think that's what's going to happen with Pittsburgh, but particularly in Baltimore, we're still trying to find out why they refuse to go out and provide the quarterback that's supposed to be mobile, guy's supposed to be able to get some things done. You can say he's not doing it and wondering why. Why would you not go out and definitely grab or obtain one, at least one, maybe two quality receivers for him to throw to? We still waiting on that. And I'm not saying, and maybe it is part of Lamar Jackson has a curse or something. I don't know. And he can't get it done. But when your tight end is your primary receiver, it makes you wonder as to why they won't move forward to give them some help. And you went out and got Derrick Henry, great. But that's not the answer either. So I don't know what it is. I'm really interested to see what's going to happen in Arizona. There's a possibility that Raheem Morris may get that job.
Maybe.
I like to see that. I like to see that. We don't know what's going to happen with Buffalo. Cleveland, I guess they asking too many questions. So
You're asking too many questions.
questions.
Shout out to Tracy Morgan. You're asking too many questions.
Cleveland and then the Raiders. So Tom Brady is over there. So I guess they're trying to figure that out too. I don't know. There's a little hope there, maybe, because I don't think Brady wants to bring somebody in that maybe doesn't know football. I mean, you tried to retread. Pete Carroll lasted a year, flamed out. Now it's like, okay, let's move forward. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what they do, but I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if Bruce Arians was still available to coach. I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders go grab Bruce Arians because that's the last coach that Brady was coach. I mean, he played under. If he's healthy enough, I believe they'll go and dig up Bruce Arians and try to get him out there to at least straighten out the Raiders and change the culture a little bit.
I didn't think about this, but maybe because we talked about Arizona. What about Raheem Morris in with the Raiders?
I don't know if they would give the reins to Raheem Morris. I like the move. I really like the move. I liked what he was trying to do in Atlanta, but when you got certain ingredients and they won't allow you, I guess what Bill Parcells used to say, they won't allow you to shop for the ingredients to make the dish, then it's so much you can do. So if the Raiders are willing to do that, because they have some talent over there, they just don't have structure and they never had discipline. So, and that's what the Raiders need. They need structure and discipline. And those players need to be to marry that with the talent to move that organization, because you're in a conference with the Chiefs, the Broncos, and the Chargers. And those teams aren't going away lightly. So you got to compete with them. And if you can't, you're going to be in last place every year.
Yeah, I find it ironic though when talking about coaching changes. The Kansas City said, you know what? We did not have what we've been working around this. We've been playing around saying, well, we're looking around trying to say it doesn't matter who we have as our offensive coordinator, we're gonna make it work. Ain't been working. So what they do, and I ain't mad at you. If it look, hey, look, here you go. But if
Yeah,
it doesn't, if it
look.
look, here you go. The thing is this. Hey, we had an opportunity. We bringing our guy back. And Mahomes probably one of the most happiest people in the world. Also, too, we might keep Kelsey for a year or two. If you don't like anything else about Eric Bieniemy, if you don't think he's a head coach, you don't think he can talk, you don't think he has the core, if you will, or the pedigree to be a head coach. I get that. But one thing you cannot say about that man, that he cannot be a solid offensive coordinator. And I think Kansas City saw it on the writing on the wall. It was Nagy. I was trying to remember the name.
Yeah.
But Nagy wasn't working, and they're not. I know they're older, they're not the same team, but even when they put a bunch of guys in there that were just substitutes trying to get the reserves, putting them in as reserves, trying to get ready for the stars to come back, Bieniemy could move the football. And I think they said, hey, we can't even do this no more. And probably had Patrick Mahomes going, he probably in rehab going, y'all gonna ever try to call over there to see if we can at least talk to him or something like that? Because I've been doing this 4 years and I'm still like, damn.
I said years ago, and you guys got on me about this. Why did they let him go in the first place? They had, and they were never the same after he left. They were never the same. That offense was horrible when he left. And it take you these many years to find out that, okay, maybe we do need this guy, because I think at the time it was like I thought he was going to take over for the Kansas City Chiefs if the head coach stepped down. I mean, I thought he was the most likely candidate at that particular point. Y'all let him bounce around the league. Y'all let him bounce around college, and your offense look atrocious. I mean, this is why Patrick Mahomes is hurt now, because your offense wasn't firing the way it was. And I put up one of our promos, and if you pause it, the promo will say what the offense looked like in the years that Bieniemy was there and what the offense looked like afterwards. And I'm like, why did you waste your time in not keeping the band together? You see what he did with Chicago. You see what he did with other, coordinator positions he did in college and whatever. It just didn't make it. Sometimes the NFL just doesn't make sense. The way they kind of move people and do certain things, and they find things that work and tinker with it, and it ain't good enough, and they trying to. And it's like y'all wasted a bunch of time to finally come back and say, okay, let's bring him back because we need to get it back. And now you got a quarterback who probably won't get back until mid-season. And what are you going to do now? What are you going to do now? The NFL doesn't make sense to me, bro. It doesn't.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think early on though, maybe Bieniemy was trying to prove himself, right? Because he wanted that head coaching job so bad. So he said, let me go somewhere else and show let me go to Washington
Yeah.
and show you that I can be solid. It doesn't matter that don't think this is based on my success as an offensive coordinator or a coach. It's not based on Kansas City. I can go somewhere else and do that. And I think he just got caught up in the shuffle. Then, of course, they reverted back to what they know. And went back and got Nagy, brought him back, and they still have never really been back the way that they want to be. So another retread, but maybe a good retread this time. And I hope for his sake that they get back on at least to a point where they're meaningful and they have an offensive that's really a threat to defenses for the next year.
We might see in the news in the next couple of months they get Tariq Hill back. I don't know what they're thinking, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Hey, why not?
Yeah. I mean, when he left, I mean, the offense sputtered. It sputtered. Instead of saying, hey, we're gonna keep him until I remember the Steelers back in the 70s. And by the way, Steeler fans, I'm sorry, those days are gone. 70s, 80s, 90s, they're gone. They're gone. I don't know who's running the asylum up there in Steeler country. But when he left, you can see they couldn't score more than 21 points. If you scored more than 21 points on Kansas City, you won the game.
Yeah.
He didn't, he was opening up the field. And the Steelers used to keep players until, like, I remember Joe Green. It was like, man, when is Joe Green going to retire? I mean, they would keep him until they were long in the tooth and making sure they got every ounce out of them before they let him go or they retire. And I felt that particular team, nobody could contend with them, and they started making moves too soon.
Yeah.
Too soon, changing it, and then it just blew up.
Well, like you said, that can be the title of the campaign for next year. We're putting the band back together.
Yeah.
So then you have a picture of everybody that can go get Tyreek Hill, bring him back, bring back all the other old guys, and then have Mahomes in there going, we're putting the band back together like the Blues Brothers,
Blues
right?
Brothers,
Put
yep,
the band,
yep.
yeah. So hey, why not, man? Sometimes you like no hard feelings, yeah, you wanted your money. It's like, look, you ever think you want to just come home and let's turn this thing back around? It's like, I kind of like it in Chicago. Be like, you know what? Can I get my same locker again? You're like, yeah, okay, come on.
The enemy felt that weather last weekend. It's like, oh no, I got to get back to Kansas City. I got to get back.
And he was beloved in Kansas City. Let's be real. He
Yeah, he
beloved over
was. He
there.
was. He was.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good time. So maybe since you know he's not gonna get a head coaching job, you might as well go back to Kansas City.
And who knows? The head coach may say, you know what? Turn it over to you. Let's keep this going.
And I'm gonna be straight up with you. And this is editorial comment. I think that's the only way he'll get a job, bro.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't think no other way is he gonna get a shot at being the head coach, and that's sad.
I truly agree with that. Saw some college football. The championship game was Monday, and it was a better game than I thought it would be. Miami made too many mistakes, and I think it cost them the game, especially the last pass by Beck. Didn't get that ball high enough, and that safety played it perfectly. But, I, all hats off to Indiana and the Big Ten, 3 in a row. The SEC cannot claim that they're the best conference in college football. The Big Ten is the best conference in college football right now with I believe, Michigan, Ohio State, and now Indiana. And Mendoza, it's a fairy tale Disney movie waiting to happen. I mean, what else could you say? But your thoughts on the championship game, man?
It was wild watching it, but I think it kind of came to into play some things I talked about. I think the lack of discipline by Miami. I just think that was how it was from the beginning. And on the paper, we mentioned before, they are lights out. They can play with anybody. When you see them, everybody talked about, we know these guys are going to go pro. This guy has opportunity, a lot of potential, a lot of potential. But when you play football, particularly in big games, you have to have discipline. You have to follow the rules, and you kept seeing unnecessary penalties. And the coach didn't help either. I think the coach was all hyped up. Michael Irvin on the sideline, and that's cool. I understand
I
it.
didn't
But
see him
so
on the sidelines.
he was there.
Okay.
Ray Lewis. I mean, they went through the whole. Ed Reed was on the side. I mean, it was everything. It was a show. It was a show. I'm like, how's that gonna help you win? Y'all need to be in practice or whatever. But it came down to me. It came down to the mistakes. I made after my little my rant. I'm no longer gonna talk about the refs. I'm not doing it anymore because it don't matter. Like it don't matter. They're gonna do what they want to do, and the outcome is gonna be what it is. If you good enough to make it, and they don't make no calls, then you didn't do enough. So that's what I'm gonna say from now on. Because apparently it don't matter. So I'm gonna leave that right there. But Miami, I think just they would get close. Indiana, it almost seems at one point, and I'll say this because I don't think Mendoza had a spectacular game whatsoever.
Not really, but I mean, you win the Heisman. I don't even think he should have got the Heisman, to be honest with you. But he
Yeah,
did. But it's like a Disney movie playing out in front of us, and this is what the
yeah,
public wants to see.
yeah. And I think too, the one thing for me also too is that when the Hoosiers kind of went up, Indiana went up a little bit. I started watching the second half of the game. I was like, damn, is this Ryan Day? Because he got real conservative. They
Yeah,
kept running the same two plays with the same running back. And Miami started jumping up on them, and Miami would make a run. They had the running back that got scored two touchdowns, right? They break a play or do something like that, and Miami was like getting real close. And then all of a sudden, you're like, Indiana's about to lose the game because they kept running the same play. I said, we're all watching this, right? The running back, and they did run well early, walking, running through the trenches, right? Running through, breaking tackles, but it's like it's the same plays. And then all of a sudden, Mendoza needs to pay some homage and get some of that NIL money over to Charlie Becker. Charlie Becker caught four passes for Indiana, but they were four of the most amazing catches on third down, mostly, where he was literally a couple balls that Mendoza threw. They were behind or all in an awkward situation. Charlie Becker went up and got those. Literally took it from whoever was trying to check him
yeah,
and saved their hides. Saved them. And actually, to me, won the game because he's making some stuff. And Mendoza had an amazing run. You talking Disney, it was hilarious because I'm sitting there going, and my phone blew up. I got calls, and my brother called me and says, now, as soon as I saw what he read at the end, I thought about you. Now that's what a quarterback's supposed to do. I said, you're absolutely right, my brother. That's what a quarterback's supposed to do. No matter what, at the end, you just make any way, any play you
make
can.
plays. Yep.
Yeah, you just have to because even when it's not expected, he's not the most agile guy, but he got hit. He spun, almost got down to the ground, spun around, just trying. And they won. And like you said, it's a Disney movie, but still, if I'm Miami, you could just see the frustration. It's like they thought they were going to win because they had more glitz, glamour, right? But on paper, you're the better team, but you didn't play like you're supposed to with discipline. I like the fast break on basketball, the up and running. I like that scoring a lot of points in football, right, when you can. But at some point, you got to go back to the basics of the game. And slow, corny Kurt Signetti, right, from James Pettis came over there, brought them 25-year-olds with him and won the game. That's what he did. So I mean, now they're gonna move forward. So if they never win another game, it don't matter. He got one.
Yeah,
That's kind of like Urban Meyer at Ohio State. You get one, you go next to Woody Hayes. It
yeah,
don't matter. You just need one.
yeah.
Oh,
Be a legend for many many years after
yeah, forever. They might build. You might get a statue and
that too.
everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he got
Probably a
one.
stadium named after him too, because he said he always wanted to be like Bear Bryant. He might just be the Bear Bryant of Indiana.
Yeah. Well, hey, you got the one thing they needed, the one thing they wanted. I tell you what, I know one person build a statue for you tomorrow. That's Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban, for the rest of his life, is going to guess what? Indiana won a national college football championship. We'll see.
All right, college basketball. Man, there've been some upsets. There've been some great games. Houston got popped yesterday. There are three top 25 teams that have 20-game winning streaks. That's Arizona, Nebraska, and the team you mentioned last week, Miami of Ohio. They are ranked number 25. Let's go through the top 10. You have Arizona still holding on to that number one spot, followed by UConn, Michigan, number 3, Purdue, or Duke is holding at number 5. Houston is at number 6. I don't know if they hold on to that because Nebraska is at number 7. And you have Gonzaga, number 8. You have Iowa State, number 9, and Michigan State, number 10. Mention one more because I live in the state of Illinois. Illinois is number 11, and I'll mention another one. Texas Tech had a big win, and they're at number 12. Your thoughts on college basketball?
A lot was going on. You mentioned the upsets earlier, Texas Tech over Houston. Also, when you look at the standpoint, Texas beat Georgia. So there was a lot of things going on there too. UConn in overtime over Villanova got by. We saw some teams that are expected to be really good right now either lost yesterday or they got a scare. And I think this kind of showing you how the season is ramping up and we're going to get closer games, which I think we're going to have a hell of a March Madness. You saw where Gonzaga got just barely got by San Francisco 68-66. UNC, North Carolina rebounds and comes with a miraculous victory over Virginia. They were down for the longest time, came back and rallied. Auburn dismantled Florida 76-57, 76-67. Tennessee took over and topped Alabama 79-73. And yeah, so it's getting real tight. It is getting real tight. And I think we're going to see some great basketball because for as much as we want to put the Dukes and other teams up there on that pedestal, anytime, any place, you never know who you're going to play and you can get popped. So I don't think there's any one dominant team. You mentioned about Arizona with that winning streak. You mentioned about Duke with the winning streak. But we know what Arizona has been like.
Yeah.
They're prone to run the regular season, they get in the tournament, and somewhere or another they're gonna let you down. So I think overall things are a lot more even, an even keel almost to a point, a lot of parity in the college basketball. So I'm excited about what's going to happen down the line. We're getting close to March Madness, and I'm not sure if those four number ones gonna make it like they did before, but we'll see.
Yeah, I gotta give a shout out because I failed to mention his name. Keaton Wagler from Illinois, 46 points over their win over Purdue. I mean, that was a really good game. Purdue was playing really tough. Their point guard was playing tough. He was making some clutch shots, but Wagler was just too much. I mean, I didn't really notice him until really yesterday. You know, he wears number 23, and I'm looking at Stoyanovich. You know, his son playing on that squad. And they play really tough. They play really tough. DePaul, I started watching the DePaul game, and they upset Seton Hall. And DePaul may not make the tournament. They may make the NIT. They're like maybe 3 or 4 games above 500. But I was really shocked the way they play. I knew they had some heart, but Seton Hall is pretty good this year, and DePaul just put it to them. They put it to them.
Yeah, I mean, see, I mean, like you said, DePaul did that, and I've told you about Cincinnati, right?
Yeah.
Another team that might be NIT bound that you really don't want to play. They play real hard, particularly at home, and they are just upset waiting to happen.
Florida can't get it right. You see them making strides and like, okay, they're coming on now, they're coming on now, and then they face an Auburn and just don't look like they play together. It's like you're waiting for them to mesh and just kind of take over, and they just can't get it together. I can't explain them this year.
I'll say this though, and I think with Florida, I watched them a couple times. They have talent, right? They're very, very talented. But I think some of the marquee players, as far as like the guard last year and some other big fellas that made plays, they're showing you now with their absence how really key they were to that team winning. So it's nothing for them to get talent. They can get talent all day long, but you also need leadership and you need guys to step up and take advantage of where the situation is. And you need that leadership to guide them because that's how you win. You can have talented players all day, but when you play against other great teams or somebody needs to step up and guide them. And I'm not sure if Florida has matured to that point yet in the season, and I don't know if they will.
Yeah. Stay tuned towards the end of our show. I'm going to be talking. I'm going to have 2 last second shots about. I had to do my research on Annabella Danger, and that I mentioned in college football, and my man Unc Herm Edwards. I got to make those, so I got to announce that now. So don't turn away from the show. I got 2 last second shots that are going to be pretty hot. Let's go to the NBA right now. And the Pistons are still holding on to that number 1 spot. The Clippers in the Western Conference are 8-2 in their last 10. So I know Kawhi Leonard is out again, and so, but the players I wanted to talk about, and then we go to the Western Conference real quick. The Thunder is still in their top spot, followed by the Spurs. But I want to go. The trading deadline is coming up pretty soon, and we thought some players would be moving. We thought Antetokounmpo would be moving. He gets hurt. Kuminga, he gets hurt. Butler, he gets hurt in Golden State. So we were talking a little bit offline about this, about how the general manager was saying nobody really wants Kuminga. He wants to trade. He wants to get out of there, but nobody really, there's not a market for him. And so I was thinking the previous GM, I think the reason why he stepped down, and I have no proof of this, I'm just speculating at this particular point, that I think he was one of the ones who wanted to get rid of Draymond Green. And Draymond Green has kind of endeared himself to the Golden State Warrior organization. And he sees the writing on the wall where the dynasty is coming to an end. Maybe he was trying to keep the dynasty going. They wouldn't get rid of Draymond Green. Hey, I'm gonna take my hands off it. You guys do what you want to do. Now you see that Golden State, if you're looking at them in the rankings, they're number 8, and they're barely holding on. They got a 2-game losing streak. They're barely holding on. And now the new GM is like trying to figure out how can I keep this team relevant and keep them in the playoffs at least so we have a shot. And he has no pieces to work with. I felt and I feel Draymond Green hurts the Golden State Warriors. I felt he should have been traded years ago, but they keep holding on to this guy and they can't bring anybody else in to really help. Ice, you seem to think that they're not playing their younger players. I do see them playing their younger players, but nobody's really good enough to kind of keep that team in a, kind of a championship kind of form.
Yeah, and I get that. And I had to look at something real quick because I know how you get, so I had to come with my facts. But what I said to you earlier is when you look at Trace, somebody like a Trace Jackson Davis, he's getting like 12 minutes a game, 11 minutes a game. Gary Payton is not playing anymore. DeAnthony Melton, Moses Moody, guys like that. You got to go with what works. Brandon P, I'm gonna call him the guard for Golden State when Steph Curry got hurt. He couldn't bring the ball up the court.
Mm.
And I'm sitting there like this. What happened to going to guys that have been there? Maybe Steve Kerr's in practice. He knows more than I do. Maybe they're looking for a chemistry for guys that would defer to Curry and them. But now you need guys to step up. And granted, Kuminga got hurt, and for your general manager to go, well, there's no market for him. What are you talking about? That might be true, but why are you running your mouth? Now you're in a situation where Jimmy Butler's done for the year. He's done. So when Kuminga come back, he was averaging what, 20 points in a little stretch? You should be pumping him up, getting him ready to at least finish the season. Because if you don't do anything else, you owe that to Steph Curry.
Mm.
You owe that to him for you running your mouth. And this guy said, I don't want to play. You ain't been playing me, so am I coming out? You might have had an open door. I think Steve Kerr had talked to him before, but you're in the background running your mouth. And then you have to rely on Draymond Green and these other guys that are clearly not stepping up.
Right.
We still waiting on Buddy Hield. What has he done this year?
Right.
All I'm saying is you got Kuminga, you got Trace Jackson Davis over there, young guys waiting to play that are healthy and can get things done. But for some reason or another, it's in their head. Jimmy's gone now. Who gonna step up and take Jimmy's spot?
Yeah, and I hear this is the last year of Kerr's contract, and they're not talking about extension, so maybe he's on his way out. So that may be a possibility. I'm going to ask you, what's the over under of him staying or leaving?
And I think it's Steph Curry is the key. Steph Curry. Well, how long is Steph gonna be around? So I think he would go if Steph wants to play 2 more years, and maybe they go out and do something crazy, get somebody after the deadline, or get a one more take one more stab at it. Then maybe that's how long Kerr stays. I think it might be 1 or 2 years, and those kind of contracts. I don't see him signing like a 5-year contract.
I
I
don't.
think if they're gonna, I think if they're gonna start all over, they're gonna go look. Steph going out, Kerr going out. We all ride out together. We ride out together. And the other thing too is the fact is they still have Jimmy Butler there. I think Kerr feels like he kind of owes it to him because he deserves better. So I say a couple more years, maybe max 3. Draymond Green may be gone, but I would say probably 60% that Kerr returns on his way out. This is his last contract. So it's like getting the band back together for maybe 3 more seasons, maybe even two. And I think Kerr and Steph Curry will ride out together because neither one of them have anything else to prove.
No.
Kerr has won already. Steph Curry got his Olympic medal now. I mean, if you're gonna start all over, Jimmy Butler like 2 more years and I go somewhere else. But I think that's how that's gonna work.
Yeah. All right. What's on your mind, son?
What's on my mind? You kind of touched on it a little bit, but I want to give again kudos to the three freshmen on Saturday that scored over 40 points in the game. That was amazing. So you go from the standpoint, Kingston Flemings, who's amazing at Houston, dropped 42 in a loss to Texas Tech, right? 42. And he's amazing. He's just long and for them to be guard oriented, veteran guard oriented, he just came in there and they like just go and take them bananas. They just let him do what he wanted to. He's amazing from that standpoint. And then of course you mentioned Keaton Wagler. They misspelled the man's name already. I saw Wagger, no, no, Wagler, Wagler, had 46 versus Purdue in a win. And he is so smooth. I watched that game early on. I missed the last part. I was doing something else. But he is smooth. He has that way to go to the hole.
You don't even realize
Like
he's on the
watching.
court sometimes, man.
He remind me, he can shoot the jumper because he like was it 7 of 11 from 3-point land, I think it was.
I'm like that.
But when he comes to the hole, he might be an old Clyde Frazier, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's smooth. It's just like that. And he's just smooth and he's amazing to watch. And of course, we had our guy AJ, the Bonsta from BYU, who dropped 43 versus Utah. And I guess AJ was being interviewed, and they said, "Did you know such and such did this?" He talked about Wagler and he talked about Flemings, and he goes, "For real?" He's like, 40. He was like, "Really?" He said, "Oh, this class is something else, isn't it?" He go, "Yeah." He was really surprised, but again, Wagler at Illinois is amazing, particularly the way that their coach is. Underwood can be little tight, but when it's like Bobby Knight. When you got a show pony or show horse, you gotta just let it fly, man. Sometimes you gotta let guys just play. And I was really impressed by all three of those guys. And it's exciting basketball. I like to see young guys really that can play and the coach not afraid to let them showcase their skills.
All right. Last second shot. I will go first. My first shot, Abella Danger. She's an adult film star who got caught on camera. The cameraman was panning during the national championship game. She goes to the University of Miami. So I had to do my research to find her, look at her, and all that other stuff. And very talented, very, very, very talented young lady. Glad you're going to get your degree at the University of Miami. But the thing that bothered me is that I think we are so stuck up in America and so anal retentive that parents are, you know, typing in and complaining, oh, they showed her on camera and I have my children watching. My first question is, how do you know who she is? And how do your children know who she is? It's a football game. Everybody's out there. Everybody's out there of all walks of life. And if you know about her, you're a closet pervert. All right? You're a closet pervert. And if your children know about it, you should be supervising them a little bit better. Okay? All right? Leave that woman alone. Leave ESPN alone. They're just panning around in the crowd, getting reactions, things of that sort. All right? Because if you're not screaming about the male cheerleaders and all these other teams and jumping around, dressing up like, traditional cheerleaders, do not come to me about an adult film star. The other thing, Herm Edwards. I am volunteering to be your fashion consultant on ESPN. I don't know what ESPN is doing. I don't know. You are dressing like you're in the 70s. And I ain't talking about the disco era in the 70s and the late 70s, 77, 78, 79. I'm talking about 70, 71, 72. I know y'all got a budget to put some clothes on Herm Edwards that will be respectful and of this particular time and era, not in the 70s. So, Coach Unc, I'm available. Contact the show. I'll be your fashion consultant. I'll do you right because ESPN is not doing you right at this particular time, having you dressed there like they're pulling stuff out the lost and found closet and slapping it on you and putting you on camera. ESPN, stop. Let's treat Unc a little bit better and have him dress up in clothes that's presentable and not from another generation. ESPN wasn't even around in the 70s. And come on, man, get him up to date with the clothing. Ice.
Yes, sir. Come on, take care of Unc. Unc, you deserve better. Somebody out there will give you some fashion tips or at least provide you with free clothing.
Right on.
Whatever. There you go. So my last second shot is a little bit more personal. Kudos, want to give kudos to Columbus, Ohio native Trey Burke. I watched Trey Burke since he was in high school at Columbus, Northland. He played high school ball with Jared Sullinger that ended up with the Boston Celtics. Jared ended up, of course, at the Ohio State University. Trey Burke was a hell of a guard in high school. Never got the love that he deserved. I think, as far as recruiting was concerned, one of the first scholarships was Penn State, and he accepted the offer because they were like one of the main ones after him. And then, of course, he started to grow in stature. People wanted to see him. But what they don't realize in high school, I think he played on the championship team as a sophomore and put much work in. He just kept getting better. Every time they played a better team, he was improving his game. And for some reason or another, in Columbus, Ohio, they just didn't seem that he was worthy of being one of their main focuses. I think they ended up signing a gentleman by the name of Aaron Craft, who people loved for years and whatnot, but I thought Trey Burke was really just as good, if not better. So with that being said, Trey goes on to play up north in Ann Arbor and does real well, ends up getting in the NBA, plays a number of years and does well. So recently, last Friday, Trey had his jersey retired up north in Ann Arbor. And it was a beautiful thing because he acknowledged where he was from. Of course, they got Bulls. He acknowledged the city where he was raised. He also acknowledged Ann Arbor, saying that it was a place that allowed him to be explored by the world. And he, of course, he thanked his family and in general just gave a great speech about a young man that just persevered and tried. And he also encouraged the young people to have dreams. It's kind of almost like it's almost a Disney story, but with a twist of a kid that was just a good kid, but he worked his ass off to get there. And to see that young man do what he did and see his name up in the Raptors for forever is amazing. And that's what we want. We want more solid athletes that do good things and are rewarded because they did great things and they continue to be an example for the future.
Yeah, and a quick shout out to Derrick Rose. Got his jersey retired yesterday. So congratulations, man. You did Chicago proud. You did Chicago proud. Wish you didn't get hurt because I would have really enjoyed watching you play with the Bulls. I was watching an interview with some of the players that played with him, and it's like he was like one of the most feared guards out there. It's like you couldn't do anything with him. And so congratulations, Derrick Rose, the Rose. We will see you next week. Take care.